tonight we welcome a powerful powerhouse of resilience and vision, Eldonna Fernandez. She's a retired Air Force Master Sergeant with a 23-year career as a contractor negotiator, where she handled hundreds of millions in deals. Today, she's the CEO of Dynamic Vision International, and I think it's closest to her heart, the founder of Baskets and Beads Kenya, a fair trade social enterprise transforming lives of women in extreme poverty. We're sporting some of those jewels today. Wait till you hear all the exciting things this woman's done. She's an award-winning speaker, author, and only one of 89 Toastmasters accredited speakers worldwide. I don't know if you know, but I'm a Toastmaster and I did my stuff, and there are, I don't know, I should let us know, like millions of us, and there's only 89 Toastmasters accredited speakers worldwide. You have to get this woman on your stage. Eldonna has appeared on CNN and Fox and the New York Times. She embodies service, leadership, and global impact. Please welcome to the show, Eldonna Fernandez. Yes, thank you so much for being with us. Hey. And I want to give a shout out to Jeffrey Wolf for introducing us. It is so wonderful.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you, Jeffrey Wolf, for the introduction. He's very good at capital relationship capital. And he just thought we hit it off, especially since he knows I'm also from an Air Force family. And what first inspired you to join the Air Force, Eldonna?
Well, I had pretty rough upbringing. My mother and father were both alcoholics. My mother died of alcoholism when I was 12. I dropped out of high school when I was 16, and I was going nowhere fast. And one day I saw this commercial about the Air Force and thought, Air Force, great way of life. Sounded like an adventure, a chance for a different life. And found myself in a room with the U.S. flag, raising my right hand and taking that oath, and it absolutely changed my life.
Awesome. It is life-changing. My little sister's in the Air Force. In fact, I was just showing, here is my dad, reading her that she got promoted to. I'm not sure if this one was Lieutenant Colonel or Full Bird. I think this one's Full Bird. And actually, Eric, you can play are we allowed to play the Air Force song? Go ahead, put it on. No? Okay. Anyway, we all know the Air Force song. I think we all know it, right? Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun.
Blue yonder.
So you spent 23 years negotiating contracts for the military. What did that role teach you about resilience and leadership? Because you certainly pulled yourself up, became a superstar, superwoman, and you didn't let anything hold you back. So negotiating contracts.
What the Air Force did for the Air Force did. I stumbled into the contracting career field by accident. I went in wanting to be a computer programmer, which was considered an administrative career field when I joined, and that was not available. And I picked this job called contract specialist. I didn't know what it was, but it had a really high score, and all the other jobs had half the score required to get in. And I started learning the basic ground rules of contracts, management, negotiation. I failed miserably at my first negotiation because I had no clue about anything or how to do anything. But I learned that you have to keep going, and if you fall down, you get back up, dust yourself off, and learn after action review what worked, what didn't, what could be improved for next time. And then you keep on going to the next thing until you achieve a level of excellence.
Excellence. It's very important, always. Can you share a memorable negotiation story from your Air Force career? Besides that first one, because you'll have to start someplace.
Well, actually, that first one was very memorable. We were negotiating a custodial contract, and we were negotiating with the Small Business Administration and the supplier. The Small Business Administration would come in and help the supplier get it was called an 8A contract. They would help them get contracts just to get started. And I'm sitting there and passing my negotiation things. And I said, oh, here's the first element of cost. And here's the second element of cost. And they were like, no, we don't agree. And I'm thinking, what do I do now? And I have the deputy manager of the office sitting beside me, passing me notes. You're doing great. You're doing fantastic. I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What I learned from that is something that I wrote in one of the strategies in my Think Like a Negotiator book, is the importance of preparing in advance and understanding what it is you're negotiating, what your position is, what your max that you'll go and what's the minimum you'll go, whether it's price, terms and conditions, anything like that. And then that's where you start from.
You have an amazing phrase I heard in one of your podcasts. Is there any reason you can't? Please tell our audience about that wonderful catchphrase that you can put into everything to stop getting those 3 no's before you get to a yes.
Right. People say no 3 times before they say yes anyway. We're all conditioned to no. You think about when you were a child, how many times you heard the word no. No, don't do that. No, don't climb on that. No, don't touch that. No, don't eat that. No, 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 no. And is there any reason you can't? You think about it. Is there any reason you can't agree to this price? No. Okay, great. We're going to agree to that price. Well, I said no. Well, you said no. There's not a reason you can't. What? I'm confused. Good. That's what you want. You want to confuse somebody with that question, because a no to that question, no answer to that question is actually a yes. And it does what's called a pattern interrupt and gets the person to, what did I just say? I don't understand. And then it opens up the conversation to further get to yes. And it breaks that no cycle so you can have an opportunity to have that discussion.
Yes, brilliant. And it shows that they weren't listening.
Well, so many times they'll say no.
Right. And then you hit them with, what was it? It was so cute. Is there any reason you can't? And that could be such a good question.
Is there any reason you can't agree to this price?
Or you're not the decision maker, then is there any reason you can't?
There is a reason.
I can't sign the paperwork.
Tell you what, yeah.
And then that would go back to your preparation, because you should have known that.
Right. Another thing, like a negotiator strategy there is asking powerful questions. And one of the questions that's a good thing to ask, are you the decision maker? Or do you have to go get permission from somebody?
Yeah, we should know that one before we go in. That's part of the preparation you mentioned in the beginning. You know, preparedness, preparation, being yes, pleases, and what skills from your military negotiations are now useful in today's life for you?
Well, I'm also doing negotiation for a defense contractor, and I use those skills all the time, and much to my benefit. And I use them. I have actually helped several people get lots of deposit without even batting an eye. And I've helped a lot of people with getting their deposits back, including my daughter and friends and clients. And I've learned it's the important thing about asking. You have to ask for exactly what you want, and obviously be prepared, determine whether or not it is or is not fair and reasonable. And that's not only in business, it's even in conversations with other people. Is what you're saying to me, is that fair and reasonable to me? Oh, I want you to go do this with me tonight. Well, that's not my cup of tea, so that's not fair.
And Eldonna actually moved out into her car because she had bad internet in the office where she's currently in San Diego. And now it looks like it's in her car too. Perhaps she'll turn on her camera and we can talk about how she transitioned from the world of defense to becoming a global speaker and trainer. Because everything you learn in all walks of life, good and bad, can help you follow your passion. And I think her passion is speaking and teaching people how to think like a negotiator because, you negotiate everything. If you go to her blog, one of her older ones, I think it was in 2019, and she was talking about, she signed up for an Airbnb back when Airbnbs weren't really a thing. And she got there and it had beautiful pictures. It was a beautiful building. And the pictures lived up to it, the building, the rooms, but it was in the middle of the slums in a very depressed area I'm not sure where she was, maybe San Francisco. But she was talking about how, oh, no, Chinatown. It was Chinatown. And she was talking about how, like, there were people sleeping, shooting up. There was a gun thing in the parking lot. Just horrible, horrible, horrible. And she went back to them and said, this isn't what I signed up for my Airbnb. And they said, yes, it is. It matches all the pictures and this and that. And she goes, yes, but you didn't tell me it was in the slums. So she went back and researched the gentleman who she had, made the decision to get the Airbnb from. And then she found out that he had 3 other properties. So she checked that out. And then she found out that none of them does he had insurance or he wasn't licensed. And she went, uh-huh, uh-huh. And then she found out there was 3 things she found out. Oh, and then she went and found out what social media she could get on that would hit the Airbnb population, because I was still pretty new back then. So then she went up to him very nicely and she said, I want 50% of my money back, because I'm not going to go to the social media and let them know never to use this Airbnb. I'm not going to report you for not having a license, and I'm not going to report your insurance not being up to date for all 3 locations. And she got back $400 or something, maybe more. And look at that. Negotiating in your day-to-day stuff always comes through, and she's back. Welcome back, Eldonna Fernandez. Drum roll, please. So I was just filling in about how you can use negotiations in your everyday world, talking about your Airbnb experience that you shared in your blog. If you can hear me now, do you want to talk about your transition from the defense world to becoming a global speaker and trainer? Meanwhile, while she connects back up. Oh, well, I can hear you. That's a good start. Eric, will you please put up Eldonna's books? So she has a couple of books out. Here is one. And Think Like a Negotiator, 50 Ways to Create Win-Win Results by Understanding the Pitfalls to Avoid. I'm definitely going to pick this one up. It's always a good one to brush up on. And I know she has a whole course on this, and she does public speaking on this, and she does exercises. I think she thinks it's very important to get everyone involved in the exercise. And she says if you do it and it sinks in and you touch it, feel it, then you're more likely to use it and embody it into your body. And here is Heart of a Woman, Stories and Tributes to Those Who Serve Our Country.
I can't hear.
And she co-wrote this with Cheryl A. Rouche, and it looks like a really good one to pick up as well. These are both available on Amazon. And Baskets and Beads, I really want her to talk about this with you, because this is the love of her life now, and I can't wait to hear this story from her. We'll have to let her tell you. She's the founder of Birds and Beads, a dynamic vision foundation which helps women and children in extreme poverty in Kenya by creating sustainable social enterprises and building self-sustaining families through entrepreneurship for the women and providing scholarships for high school and college for the children. And this is just amazing. I have some pieces. I lived in Kenya, in the Seychelles Islands, East Africa. I visited all the time. Here is one of my pieces from Kenya. And I have also a blue, turquoise and blue one. And you can see the intricacy of the work. And think of the marvelous woman that Eldonna is to come up with a way to help in one of the slums in Kenya. She'll tell you the exact name when she comes up. So she went in and she was gifted with some beads that are made out of magazines, kind of like this one. This is from Africa. And the women make these beads. It's an amazing process. Perhaps she'll tell us about it. Are you back, my darling? I'm into telling about Kenya. Do you want to jump in? Anyway, it's an amazing process where they take the beads, they take magazines, they don't even have the raw covers. They had nothing. These women were prostitutes. They were living on the street. And now their children come to school. Now her children, of all those women, have a real life. She's like helping them. And it all started with a magazine, a hope, a wish, and folding these beads in a certain way, the paper, and rolling it to make the beads. Maybe you can jump into the Kenya story.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Excuse me.
back.
Welcome back.
Oh gosh, you gotta love technology. So you just adapt and overcome and make it work. So
It's all good.
I'm wearing a necklace made out of paper beads by the ladies in Kenya that I work with, and it's amazing how they just cut strips of paper and roll them into beads, and some of them they paint, like this red one was painted, but some of them, like this one, is just the magazine. So they're very creative.
And tell the story about your first trip that sparked that moment of baskets to beads.
Well, I went in 2018 on a mission trip with a group. I had met a pastor at actually Craig Duswalt's event in 2017. I was speaking there and I had a booth, and I sat and talked with the pastor for about 2 hours. He told me he'd been going there for 20 years and told me about all the work he'd done and that he had some trips coming up. And then I saw him again at another event. And I just felt this tug on my heartstrings to go, and I had to raise money to go. And so I raised some funds to go on the trip, and I thought, well, I'll just be in the background helping out or whatever. But he knew I was a speaker, so he had me speak to all these different groups. I wasn't expecting that. I looked at the schedule on the plane when I got on a plane to go there, and it said, Eldonna speaks, Eldonna speaks. I thought, oh my goodness. And one of the last places we went, it's like, okay, I guess I'm not going to be hiding in the background. And he told everybody, oh, there's this speaker coming. She's a accredited speaker and blah, blah, blah. So I went, and go ahead.
No, go.
But one of the last places we went was a place called the Kipsongo Slum, where the ladies of baskets and beads live. They weren't of baskets and beads then. And one of them, when we got there, I was just amazed. They live in little mud huts, no kitchens, bathrooms, running water, tin roof, dirt floor, not much bigger than a garage or a storage shed. And one of the ladies, they were singing when we got there. They were singing and they were rejoicing. They were happy to have us. We were bringing supplies, socks and underwear that I had purchased. I had raised extra money, and so I went downtown Los Angeles to the garment district, and I got a bunch of socks and underwear, fill a whole duffel bag to take for the women and kids. And we brought blankets and food and clothes and things and different items. And then one of the ladies, her name is Patricia, gave me this paper bead necklace that I'm wearing and wanted sponsorship for her son Maxwell to go to school. And there were a few other ladies there that had some things laying around on blankets and products. We didn't have any money with us, but on the way back, I had heard that a previous trip, one lady had given some of the women micro loans to start a bead business, selling beads there in town locally. They would lay their little blankets out, and they would have They would have nice things for sale. And I woke up in the middle of the night with this God-inspired idea to buy some beads and sell them with my book when I was speaking. And the name Baskets and Beads was put in my heart. And I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And I started to roll over and felt this whack. Get up, write this down. It's kind of just a, okay, this is something. And I wrote it all down. And interestingly enough, Layla, who's our
Well, we'll do a shout out to Eric B.
Yeah.
Flanor. Thank you for joining us. Air Force.
Same desire for those ladies. And she and I immediately started working together. I brought back a third of a suitcase of beads, went and spoke at an International Women's Day event, March 8th, 2018, and almost sold out. And then I spoke at a Toastmasters conference and sold out again. And the more I spoke and shared the story, the more people were buying beads. And we've grown from 5 women to 30 women. And then we started sponsoring kids. And now we're up to 15 kids for high school and college.
So how did that project grow from a suitcase of beads to a full fair trade enterprise? How you do that? Huh? You're selling them at that when you speak. So you have your books, and then they can also buy some of the beads or necklaces and baskets. Yes.
Okay,
And you get them into shops. You get
audio
them into
sounds really strange, but I think you're asking me about how it became a fair trade enterprise.
Yes.
Yeah. So fair trade is a way of doing business where you're ensuring that the people are getting paid fairly, that there's no child labor, there's no slave labor, that you're making sure that the environment's taken care of. There's a whole, Baskets and Beads Kenya is a verified member of the Fair Trade Federation, which we have gone through a stringent, and I mean stringent, like I think the application was something like 30 pages, and they ask you questions. Who are the artisans? All about their work and about where they work and what they do and how they're paid and how their finances are managed. And we pay up front. A lot of people ask me, oh, well, you give the money back, and that the give back model doesn't work very good, because I have hundreds of these and I can't keep track of who made which bead. So we buy it all up front, sell it, and then buy more. And the Fair Trade Federation re-verifies us every year. We've been a Fair Trade Federation member since 2019. And the importance of fair trade is it's you've probably heard of fast fashion. You're in with fashion, you probably know, fast fashion versus slow fashion. I go direct to the people making it. There's no middle person. There's no kids working. They may have their kids sitting there playing with toys, but they're making the products themselves. So it goes straight from me ordering to them making it. Layla gets it, she sends it to me, and I put it out to the market to sell. And then we just keep trying different products. Obviously, the paper beads are our foundational. We have paper bead necklaces. This one's a double of a long one. We have bracelets, different style necklaces, earrings, and then we have other things as well. And yeah, you have your pretty paper beads on too.
I do, and I love them. I often wear them, as a matter of fact. And are they in shops? Are they in some of the shops in the world globally?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the audio. It's very strange.
Do you sell them in stores?
We gotta love technology. It's just wanting to be uncooperative today. So we do what's called adapt and overcome.
Well, keep talking about the story. What kind of products are they doing now? Have you added new products?
So yeah, we have a lot of actually new products. We started with jewelry. We still do a lot of jewelry. There's a lot of seed bead jewelry, really beautiful necklaces. You could see it on the website. But we started doing other things, like we went to pillows, dog bandanas, which they thought was the most hysterical thing on the planet. They're like, what do you mean dog bandanas? And I said, no, we put bandanas on our dogs. We're making dog bandanas. Okay, I don't understand. You have dogs and you put bandanas. They wear bandanas like you put on your head or something. Yeah, we put them on our dogs. So they thought that was the silliest thing ever. But we just got into the Bone Adventure in Costa Mesa, which is a wonderful doggy daycare. So they're carrying them there. And then sometimes I actually have a space in the store called Fair Trade Long Beach, and that's global and local fair trade. And I have a space in there, and sometimes we sell them in there, or I'll sell them when I do pop-ups. But we started making pillows. We tried table runner sets, and we test things out. We do purses, uh, aprons, and then we started making dresses and skirts. And now we've started to make cosmetic bags, and those are brand new. And I made kind of a few of 2 different styles, and I got them last month. And actually, I haven't even put them on the website. My social media director put one up there with one of the bags, and people were contacting me. I want that one. I want that one. So they're selling before I even have them on the website, which is great. People have stopped by to see me, and they walk off with some cosmetic bags. So I'm like, okay, we're going to make more of these. So it's kind of you do a little ebb and flow testing to see what's going to work. The dresses sell pretty well. And my favorite thing to do with my director Layla is when I go to Kenya, we go downtown Nairobi to an area called Eastleigh, and we pick out the fabrics. And we always go in there saying, well, we're only going to get a few, only going to get a few. And then we walk out with bags and how did we end up with all these fabrics? We said we were only going to get a few.
Oh, that's so fun. I love it.
So
Absolutely love it. Do you make other things like I have from the Seychelles, I have these were made out of turtle shell back, and you can see how they even made do you do any of those kind of things with the pins? These are all from Seychelles. So they cut them out like they're making cookies, right? And then they give them a little pin. Anyway, something to think about. Which is the better seller, the doggy bandanas or the cosmetic bags so far? I can't decide. Based on the fact that she hasn't actually put the cosmetic bags out on the website yet, it looks like maybe they'll win. But doggy lovers, now you know where you can go get your bandana for your dog. And ladies, if you don't have a dog and you're a cat person, go for the cosmetic bag. And when Eldonna returns, let's see if she can share the success story of one woman whose life was transformed through this work. And she's
there we go.
back.
Yeah, just gotta love it. I'm just so loving all this. This is fun. So we have one lady. Her name's Dorcas. She's our manager, actually. So she manages the ladies in the Kipsongo slum. Layla's our director. She manages the NGO. We have an NGO and in Kenya and a nonprofit here, and then the bead sales. And Dorcas she's an amazing leader. She doesn't pull any punches. She gets everybody in line. Everybody listens to her. She's amazing. But she wasn't always that way. She was an alcoholic. She was on the streets. She was prostituting herself. She was just a mess. She was selling illegal alcohol, everything she could do to basically get by, and she was falling apart. And she decided that she wanted to be part of Baskets and Beads. She'd heard about this Baskets and Beads thing. What's this about? Let me go check this out. And she came and she got sober. She was off the streets. She cleaned herself up, got her kids all they're living. And it's interesting, they live in little mud huts, but they're very nice and clean, and they keep their houses and themselves and their children nice. And she went from being on the streets to now she's the main leader, the leader that we turn to to make sure that the ladies get the message, that the ladies are coordinated, that she leads the meetings. They meet every week or every other week, and sometimes they just meet in front of her house. But she makes sure everybody gets the message, or if there's needs, she communicates those to us. For instance, two of our ladies are diabetics, and one of them unfortunately passed away from complications due to diabetes. But then if somebody's sick, or if there's one of the kids needs something, or maybe they're struggling and they need food packs, she'll pass that information on. She's very coordinated, and they have a board. They do table banking. So she's just, I'm just so impressed with her. She inspires me. She's very strong, very knowledgeable, very smart, and she's a definite leader. And she's become the leader that everybody looks up to. And actually, the women in the slum are looked up to, and they're called the business women, because they're about their business. We have one lady, which this is unheard of. They're from the Turkana tribe, and the women don't get any say in anything. But every time that the elders and the tribal elders would make a change, they would actually say, okay, we don't like this. Because they're together, they're organized as a group. We don't like this. And so they finally said, okay, have one of your members be on the tribal council, because we're tired of this. So one of our ladies is a member of the tribal council, and
Nice.
that when that happened, that was huge. So there have been groups that have tried to tear them down, because they're the only group in the Kipsongo slum that has not failed, and they don't understand why they haven't failed, and they want them to fail, because it's something to do with poverty mindset. And it's like, well, why haven't you failed? Well, we have strong faith, for one, and we're organized, for two, and we have good leadership, for three, and we just aren't giving up. So all those things, they just had it happen. There's a building that they're able to meet in, and these people would surround the building and wouldn't let them use it. So they're like, okay, we'll just meet in front of my house. Dorcas says, we'll just meet here. Heck with you.
Thoroughness and having a passion, and it's in her nature to get it done.
Yeah, and she's just amazing to me. I love all those women, and I'm just so proud of her for how she's stepped up and taken charge, and she's an effective leader.
And you help bring that about by, one, having baskets and beads, and two, bringing her out and seeing her, reaching out and helping and letting her do her thing and just bloom and prosper. That is fabulous.
Yeah.
If you help one person, right? If you help one person, and it's a ripple effect, and they help and they help and they help and they help, and the whole world can be better. Wow. From someone listening in Topeka to Baltimore, why should they care about fair trade purchases?
Well, so fair trade, for instance, let's take chocolate. Hershey's, Nestle's, and Mars. Go Google. Washington Post did an article about how chocolate is still using slave labor to pick the cacao in like the Ivory Coast and different areas. They kidnap kids. They take them and force them to. They don't go to school. They force them to do the work. They don't get paid. They're just forced into slave labor. And they've been saying for years, oh, we're going to get better. We're going to correct it. Well, if you look on a label and get fair trade chocolate, like Lily's chocolate is one I like because it's sugar-free, but there's other fair trade chocolates that'll have an emblem on the back. That means that they've been vetted. There is no child labor. There is no slave labor. There is no forced labor. You know that the product you're buying is definitely made by certain artisans or farmers or individuals that are getting paid a fair wage, and that they're definitely supported the appropriate way. There is nobody forcing them into anything. There is no kids forced into work. So that's basically what fair trade means. And you can have fair trade verified, which is Fair Trade Federation for products, or there can be fair trade certified for things like chocolate and sugar and other things like that. So you can look for those labels when you go shopping. And can you buy fair trade everything? No, but you can make a choice of one product that you buy, make sure that it's fair trade, so you're making a difference somewhere.
And how else is fair trade so important for global equality?
Well, it's definitely important for going back to what I said about uh, there's not a child somewhere that can't get an education because they're being forced into slavery. It makes a better economy because the whole supply chain, your supply chain is connected. Like I was saying, from me to the ladies, there's nobody in between. There's nobody forcing them to do anything. They're getting all the money from the products that they make. So it makes a better economy worldwide, and that the products that you're supporting or buying are making a difference in somebody's life, not making a detriment in somebody's life.
Yes, I had Paul Hutchinson, The Sound of Freedom, on one of my podcasts. Seems like he might need to go
Oh,
do a
wow.
visit to the Ivory Coast and check on those children, especially boys that are not going to school and having a life. That's hurts my heart. What's the difference between giving charity and creating sustainable business opportunities for our listeners?
Well, so one of the things we have a couple of slogans: a hand up, not a handout, and being fully supporting by your own contributions. Now, do we at times give food packs? Yes, we do, because the actual product sales are not where we want them. We had actually, before COVID, I was going towards having about a dozen small boutique shops buying wholesale products, as well as selling in the Fair Trade Long Beach store. And then I was in space in two other stores. COVID wiped out every one of those stores. They all went out of business. And then I had to pull out of two stores. So I'm only in Fair Trade Long Beach. But our thing is for them to learn how to be fully supporting by their own contributions, because if you just keep giving them a handout, which is what they were expecting, oh, you're just another American coming here and you're just going to give us something and then you're going to leave. Actually, for the first, I guess, 2 or 3 trips, they didn't trust me. Oh, she's not coming back. Yeah, she bought a few beads. That's it. And then I came back and they were, okay, I don't know if we trust her. And I came back again, and they started to believe that I was serious, that I wanted to help them. And we give them entrepreneurial training. So not only do they know about making a quality product, getting on time, making sure that it's actually uniform, like these necklaces are all the same length, that type of thing, same amount of beads, whatever. They also know that they can do some other little businesses there. One of our ladies cleans houses. Another one does some sweeping in the streets. Another one has a chicken business where she's selling eggs and chickens. So if you it's that saying, teach somebody to fish, and teach a man to fish instead of giving them a fish. So
Yeah.
it changes their mindset, because the poverty mindset is really hard to overcome. It's a mindset that says, this is my life. This is the way I'm always going to be. There's no way out of it. We have changed that mindset in them, that they see that they can do something more. And every time I order something different, like, okay, ladies, we're going to make some dog bandanas. Okay, Eldonna, you're ridiculous, but we'll make them. All right, ladies, let's do some cosmetic bags. Ooh, they're selling. Let's make some more. And actually, I'm having an event November 1st, and we're making table runners. So Layla called me at 1 a.m. from Eastleigh. That was about as close as I could get until December. And we picked fabric for the table runners. And I thought, I picked a piece of fabric. I said, we're going to make cosmetic bags out of these because these are selling. So I want some more of those. And the ladies are very excited. So they have an opportunity to work. We actually also sent 2 of our ladies to tailoring school. So they actually
Ooh,
got some sewing training.
nice. And what do they sew on? Is it all by
Foot
hand? Or
foot
do they have?
pedal sewing machines. They have sewing machines that operate by foot pedal because they have no electricity to plug into. So they're what might have been old school sewing machines here. It's what they have Singer sewing machines with the foot pedal, and I've done it before. It takes a minute to get used to that.
That's so cool. Yes, I have played with my grandmother had one that I actually recently sold. So what happened to these women during COVID though? You kept them employed, or if you lost the stores, what were you doing to keep the women you work with going?
Well, I was able to raise $800 to $1,000 a month for almost 2 years to get them food packs every month. And then when it got close to where they started going back to school, we started raising some money for uniforms. And Layla calls me up and she's like, "Oh, we have 12 kids that need uniforms and school fees and school supplies." And I thought, okay, Lord, how are we going to do that? I guess the money will just show up somewhere. I got to have faith. And sure enough, it did. Every month, money showed up from either a donor or several donors. I've had a Rotary, the Rotary in Temecula California has donated a lot. There's been American Legion posts, they've donated a little bit. So individuals have donated some, and it just showed up. So we were able to do that every month and made sure that they had food packs. And one time they said thank you because we were literally starving. So everything was shut down. There was no way for them to even make any money doing any bead selling there. So yeah, I was grateful for that. So it's still been a rebuilding process. I think we have a good handle on some of the products that are selling. So we're closing out some things that don't sell as well. I know the cosmetic bags are going to be great. The dresses, the skirts, the aprons always sell. The purses sell well. And people always love the paper beads and some of the other jewelry. So it's exciting just to watch people, and they get their item and they give it as a gift. The products make great gifts because it's something different. It's not the standard thing that you might get that's made by some machine. It's a handmade item that somebody has a story behind, and they can actually be happy that they have something that's helped somebody make a sustainable living wage.
Yes, fabulous. You could hook up with breast cancer and do lots of things in pink, the sweatshirts or the tops and skirts and cosmetic bags, and red for the what's the red one? It's in February. I just see you connecting with those big groups, and then having that also as an offering on their website, so that you can get
even paper beads in those colors.
Yes.
Or
Eric,
keychains. I have a really cool keychain.
Oh yes. Oh, that's great.
But they also make these, like, this is the Kenya flag, but they also make these, and you can make them in any colors, and it's a pretty sturdy keychain.
Yeah, their beading is very, very, very strong. I don't know if you saw this. I showed it earlier on one of the necklaces that I got when I was in Nairobi, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
All handmade.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
And it's when they do it, I've sat with them to do some of these, and they just, they're just
like, they fly.
Yeah.
I want to do a shout out.
These.
Yes. Shout out to Kevin. Hi, thank you for joining us. Hello, Robert. Thank you, Eric. We love you guys. Share this out because it's got some very valuable lessons in it that we can all be doing something. She is an amazing woman. Just think of her doing that. Eric, will you put up the picture of her with the kids, and the mothers and the wives and the woman that she saved from the slums? Look at this little group, and they all have their beads. From mud huts to prosperity and hope. That's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So you can, and think about your own neighborhood. What could you be doing in your own neighborhood? I know there's a gentleman that I see, and I used to always give $5 to, and I just recently had a little brain whisper to me and said, next time, ask him what he wants from McDonald's and just go get him a meal, so that I know he's not going to that liquor store or whatever. So I'm going to try that the next time. I usually also give water because I always have water in the car. But Tell us about your book, Think Like a Negotiator. What inspired that one? There it is.
Well, me with my dark hair. People were always telling me, wow, you're such an expert at negotiation. You should teach that. And I thought, what? It's one of those kind of things that you do automatically. You don't realize that it's a simple thing for you, but other people either don't know how to do it or they're afraid to do it. And I thought, oh, well, I started speaking on negotiation, and I decided to write a book called Think Like a Negotiator, and just give some simple strategies to negotiate, whether you're negotiating a multi-million dollar deal, where to eat for dinner, or even how to get your kids to do their homework. It's all a negotiation. And those strategies make it simple. It breaks it down. It's all the things that I use in my in the Air Force, working for defense contractors. I've used it daily. As a matter of fact, I've used it this week. So
Yeah, how did you use it this week?
well, we have some payment terms. The supplier didn't want to have. We have a certain set payment terms now for a company. It's net 45, and they want net 30, and I just started saying, well, I used to work at that company, and your terms are net 60, so we just want net 45, and so I just kind of throw it back at him. Well, I know what your terms say. Prepare in advance, and it's worked. Oh, okay, we'll agree to that. So.
And your other book, Go Pink, Rules of Engagement, focuses on personal empowerment. What does taking control of the handlebars of life mean to you?
Well, so taking control of the handlebars of your life, you think about if you're riding on a motorcycle, and I've been riding Harley since 1996, but I first started out on the back. If you're in the back seat, if you're in
That's
the
me on
back
the back
seat,
seat.
yeah, you don't, you think about it, it's nice, you're cruising, but you don't have control. You aren't in control of the handlebars. You hop to the front seat of your life, take control of the handlebars, roll on your throttle to success, and you can steer yourself wherever you want to go as long as you're in control and not letting somebody else do the steering.
That's so good. And that's also on Amazon, right? So Eric, can you pop up those books for on Amazon? And thank you again to Jeffrey Wolf for this wonderful, wonderful woman, Eldonna Lewis Fernandez. Look her up in Amazon. Look her up in her podcast. If you need a little touch up in your negotiation or you need a public speaker, reach out to her because she is there. Here is her website. And she has another book. You co-authored Heart of a Military Woman. What does that book represent for you?
Yeah, that's a compilation of stories by, for, and about military women. So I did that with my good friend and fellow accredited speaker, Cheryl Roush, who created the Heart Book series. I'm actually published in her book, Heart of a Woman in Business, was the first book I was published in. I had a story in. I'm also in Heart of a Toastmaster and several other books. But when I just after Heart of a Woman in Business came out, I just had this kind of tug in my heart and asked her if she wanted to do a book on military women. Started out as Heart of a Woman in Uniform, but ended up being Heart of a Military Woman. And there's stories in there from women from World War II to present day. My daughter even has a story about how my being deployed affected her. We call her the famous one.
Wow. How old was she when you were deployed?
She was 10 when I was deployed. So my son was 8, and yes, it was rough for them.
Yeah, I know. I took care. I actually moved with my dad every time, and I've moved 26 times in my life. Not all for Air Force, some of course personal. But when my sister was deployed, it was usually for a year, and she had just had another child, so she went off to Afghanistan and was gone for a year, and I had 3 kids. And she was amazing because, and thank goodness we have Zoom. And it wasn't Zoom, though. What was it? FaceTime? Was it FaceTime back then? And so she would have breakfast with us every morning. She would actually sign on. I don't even know what time it was in Afghanistan. And the young one, Rylan, was just just off a bottle, and we'd all talk about our day and what we were going to get done. And it was a very good way for her to keep in touch with her children, because it was heartbreaking. Just
Oh
heartbreaking.
yeah, I mean,
Especially at birthdays. Oh, it was
yeah,
rough.
I missed a lot of stuff. It was tough.
And how many
But
times were you deployed?
well, I went on short deployments, but that was after 9/11, and I raised my right hand to say I would support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So I went to do my part for that. But yeah, it was rough.
We thank you for your service, and I know the sacrifice
Oh,
that
thank you.
it takes, and it is heart-wrenching. I don't think anyone realizes, especially for a mother to be separated from her children,
Yeah,
especially when
it
they're
was
young.
tough.
Oh, God bless you.
And then
And
I
children, and
I
your
remember
daughter.
calling back. I got to call back, I don't know, it was a week or so, and the kids were like, "Oh, hi, Mom. Yeah, I miss you. All right, I gotta go play. Bye." And I'm like, they don't need me.
Oh, yes, they do.
But
Yes.
what I realized, they did need me. They needed me. Everybody needed me, and all my fellow military brothers and sisters, because we were defending a cause. So that you had to reframe that, but it was still tough.
Thank you. Thank you. And I can't wait to read your daughter's chapter. You said she's famous now for that chapter, right? We have to find out
Yeah.
more about that. You also said that being one of the 89 accredited speakers in Toastmasters, what was the most rewarding part of that? Besides, everyone should know your name. There's how many Toastmasters are there in this world? And I thought I
I
did
think there's
pretty
about
high in my category.
it's it's under 300,000.
Uh-huh.
And accredited speaker is a professional speaking designation, and I had an error in there. We're up to 99 now, but still that's not many, because that's like 0.0 whatever percent of all the Toastmasters membership. And I think, and again, my good friend Cheryl Rouse, shout out to her, she had been an accredited speaker for several years, and she had contacted me. "Oh, I think you need to go for accredited speaker." And I had an attitude. "Oh, I don't know. Why do I want to do that? But so she gave me the reasons, and I went away and thought about it. And I said, "Oh, okay." And that was September 2015. And then you go through a very stressful, significant process. You have to get your application ready, and you have to have so many speaking engagements. So many of them have to be paid. You have to have letters of recommendation. You have to have a video with an introduction that can't be any more than 45 minutes long. And you compile all of this and submit this extensive application to Toastmasters between January 1st and February 1st every year. They notify you if it's accepted, because if it's not filled out correctly, they don't accept it. So they notified me it was accepted. Then it passed to level 1 judging, which is the judges judging your package. They go out and look at your website. They look and see what kind of presence you have. Are you really a speaker? They look at your video, and they make a determination whether or not you can pass to level 2. And 5 of us went to level 2. And what level 2 is speaking. You're in the audience. I think there was probably about 2,000 people in the audience, and there's 5 judges in the audience judging you on your presentation. And everybody can make it, or nobody can make it, or half people, or a couple people, or whatever. And I think the best part of all that is was telling a story about my daughter. She was there with me, and we affectionately called her the prop. So I referred to her in my talk and had her stand up, and everybody applauded. And then I received the accredited speaker designation myself, and one other Toastmaster that got approved, went to level 2. And yeah, it was very hard work, but it was very rewarding. I set a goal using my goal setting statement that I have. I set a goal, and I did the work. One of the things I say, you have to dreams without action are simply fantasies. You have to take positive action towards your goals and dreams. So I set the goal, and I took the action, and I achieved the goal. So that was exciting.
Very exciting. And you can set a goal, ladies and gentlemen, on anything. You can set a goal to get up. You can set a goal to brush your teeth, take a walk, and then 1%. If you're 1% better each day, look at Eldonna. Look what she's doing. And now she's saving the world 1% at a time. And in her case, she started in Kenya, which I love Kenya. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. Finally, where can listeners connect with you? How can they support Baskets and Beads or join your upcoming fundraiser or that event you said is November 1?
Yeah. November 1st, if you're local to SoCal, even if you're not, come on in. November 1st in Irvine, California at the Portola Springs Community Center, Celebration of Impact. You can find that on Baskets and Beads Kenya on Instagram, and also Eldonna Lewis Fernandez on Facebook, and Baskets and Beads Kenya on Facebook. And I think it's also on my Eldonna F on Instagram. Information about that, the LA Consulate Ambassador from Kenya is going to be in attendance, and we're going to showcase the ladies of Baskets and Beads and show you the work that we're doing with the women and the children. There'll be products to purchase. There'll be dinner served. November 1st, 5:30 p.m. Love to have you come and support that if you're local. So like I said, you can find me Baskets and Beads at Baskets and Beads Kenya on Instagram, at Eldonna F on Instagram, basketsandbeadskenya.com. If you're interested in donating, basketsandbeadskenya.org is the nonprofit site. There's a place to donate there. We're 501c3 nonprofits. So it's all tax deductible. And we're raising funds for the next trip to Kenya coming up in December. We're going to do our 4th annual Women's Empowerment and Entrepreneur Summit, teaching them more entrepreneurial skills and more empowerment skills. We're going to have a day with our sponsored kids, and then we're actually moving into helping teens and preteens to shape their mindset for their future and help them to dream big too.
Ooh, and how many participants do you have for these?
Well, okay, for our summit, we have our 30 ladies plus 10 from an area called Mount Elgon. And then the kids will be our 15 sponsored kids. And then I don't know how many other kids we're going to have. I think we have about 20 or more kids. We're going to do one session with girls only and one session with boys only, and give them some skills to use, because they're in rough, they're in extreme poverty, and you have to give them something to be able to look beyond that and see that there is opportunities, because Kenya is a country that is full of technology. They are on the cutting edge in Africa for technology. So there's all types of wonderful opportunities if you just get to school and get educated. So that's empowering women, educating children, providing self-sustaining families, one woman and one child at a time.
So if you're looking for something to do, someplace to invest, you can purchase the items, Baskets and Beads Kenya. You can donate. You can go to the November 1 event, or you can find out how this trip is going and go to Kenya with her. Right? And if you're there, you can hop over to the Seychelles Islands, helping one child at a time. Thank you so much for joining the Cynthia Manion Show. I hope this was enlightening to you. If it was, please reach out to Eldonna Lewis Fernandez and let her know that you are touched by her. If you touch one woman and it drops a little seed in her children, you're helping generations. You're helping the entire universe. So take a step, commit, and be good. Make wise choices. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Cynthia Manion Show. Thank you so much, Eldonna. You were fabulous. And thank you, Jeffrey Wolf, for the wonderful, wonderful guest I had today. I'm touched deeply by her story and all that she's accomplished. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for the connection. Really appreciate you.